welcome to AmateurLogic.TV, episode 29. I'm George.
I'm Tommy.
Where's everybody else?
Yeah, man, it's kind of lonely in here. It's got a lot of room.
Yeah, Jim couldn't be with us today. He had to go buy a refrigerator.
Yeah, Peter's a little bit predisposed. I think he's having a little bit of water down in his basement in Australia. They're having a lot of flooding down there.
Yeah.
I don't think his house is totally devastated, but I do know he had some in his basement.
Yeah, they had some bad floods in Melbourne, and I really don't know all the details on it. Peter did say his basement was flooded, and he wouldn't be able to participate in this episode because that's his ham shack and his video studio too. So anyway, he's cleaning up from that. But other than that, I think he's doing okay. And he did give us a segment this time, and we'll have that here in just a moment.
Right.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a month or two.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try to do better this year. Don't know that we will, but we hope to get back in the swing of things.
Yeah, we're going to do better this year.
Well, let's start out with some emails. What you got there, Tommy?
I got one from our friend Hugh, G7EBP. That's almost a tongue twister. It says, Dear Tommy and all at ALTV, I love the shows and have watched them all so far. I've been an amateur for 25 years and had to give up transmitting actually because of QRM. He said, this is me interfering with local TVs and radios. Just too much hassle from the neighbors. So he lives in a small English town where there's about 10 neighbors per 100 yards. That's pretty tight.
That's tight.
Yeah, he said it's funny that none of his are affected. He's pretty sure the missus would let him know if they did.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure.
I have heard of that happening.
Yeah, it's happened at my house when I was trying out on 160 meters when I first got my rig. Anyway, he's said he switched back to shortwave listening, his old hobby, and he's having a lot of growing problem from PLT, which is power line technology, I think is what they call it over there. It's BPL here.
Yeah, I don't know if that's BPL or if maybe that's like in-house internet.
No, he gives a URL here. It's ukqrm.org. Okay, he says enough bad news. Because of my new radio, a Micro Telecom Perseus, I can remove most of the PLT interference, but the noise floor is still a few dB above what it was before. So this radio is an SDR, software-defined radio, bit like the Soft Rock, but with 0 to 40 megahertz coverage and superb specifications. Simply the best radio I have, even better than an AR 7030 Plus. That sounds nice.
Yeah, I've heard of the Perseus before. It's supposed to be a real good SDR.
Yeah, cool. I'll have to look into that. Check it out.
Well, I've got an email here from our friend John, KX5JT, and he says, Hi, George. Thanks for signing my guest book at kx5jt.net. Your TS-2000 sounds great on AM. I'm sure the excellent microphone really helps it along. Then he says, smile. He says, I really like the Marshall MXL 990 microphone. And, that's a cheap mic. It's only, I bought it in a set, this one and a small diaphragm condenser for like $100. So it's like a $50 mic.
Well, I actually bought the mic.
You did,
the mic with the bracket and everything.
Yeah, you got the shock mount.
And I think I paid $49 for it.
Wow, excellent deal for that. Anyway, I've enjoyed using that better than the Electroforce RE20 that I was using previously. People said this one sounded better, a little crisper, so I went with the cheap one.
Yeah, it's a good deal for the money.
Put the RE20 back in the box. Anyway, he said my DX60 has been modified with WC3K mods found on the amwindow.org website. It really brings audio alive on the DX60. I wonder if you were watching my screen and how wide did my signal appear. Someone with the Flex 5000 told me it seemed to be under 6 kilohertz, closer to 5 kilohertz wide. I wonder if your display saw the same thing. And he's referring to, I run Power SDR with my radio a lot. And so I had a pen adapter there. I could see his bandwidth, and I don't remember now, but I do remember he sounded great. He said, I hadn't realized that you were George from AmateurLogic.TV until I saw your signature on the guest book. I like the videos. I believe I've worked you on AM before, and maybe it was on the TS-570 then. He says, it does okay on AM, but the modified DX60 is really much funner on AM. It's nice to see you guys are actually making some videos lately. Well, you can tell this email was from a while back.
That must be pretty old.
Back in May.
This year?
I'm
yeah. Just kidding.
Last year. Says, I'm catching up on the episodes now. Hope to work you again on AM soon, or maybe other modes, but I really have the AM bug. And yeah, I enjoyed talking with John. He had a really nice sounding station on AM.
Yeah, you know, I've been hearing about a lot of people getting back into AM.
Yeah, it's a little different. Uses a little more bandwidth. Well, actually, twice the bandwidth that you would with sideband, but sounds better. And people talk a little different on there. Conversations are different. Check it out. You know, if you get a chance sometimes, and see what's going on with the AM guys. A lot of them are running old gear. Some of them are running brand new solid-state digital rigs that they built. So it's a wide variety of people and gear on there. Peter can't be with us, as we mentioned earlier, but he did send us a video.
Yeah.
And this was on his, I don't have the model number of it, but I believe it's pronounced Puxing, Puxing.
Yeah, but that's probably not right either, although it looks right.
Yeah. It's a Chinese handy-talkie that he bought in Australia there, and he was pretty impressed with it. Now, you need to check with the authorities in your own country to determine if it's legal to import it and use it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is in the U.S., but I believe I have seen some here, so it very well could be.
Hello everyone, and welcome once again. As you can see, it's World Cup fever time, and for all our Holland viewers out there, hoop hoop Holland. And for all our Australian viewers, of course, go Socceroos. This month we're going to have a look at a 2-metre HT that I bought about a year ago. It's the Puxing 777. Now, the Chinese have been releasing a whole lot of brands of walkie-talkies like this, mostly intended for commercial use. And one place you can go to see all of these different brands is a site called www.asiaradiosales.com. I don't necessarily recommend that particular seller, but they do have all the different brands on the one page, and you can make a comparison and see, you know, what's available out there. The Puxing is a little different from most others in that it's actually got DTMF, and if you want to use Echolink or IRLP, this is quite a good radio to choose. So let's have a look at its features. The radio transmits and receives from 136 through to 174 megahertz. It has 128 memory channels, has CTC-SS. It comes with a 1200 milliamp hour lithium-ion battery. You can use the keyboard to input the frequency. It can be voice operated. It has a number of scanning functions, 3 different backlight colours, high and low power, programmable squelch, DTMF tones, a number of different channel steps, 5, 10, 6.25, 12.5 and 25 kilohertz steps, and you can program in an alphanumeric channel name. The radio comes with the lithium-ion battery, the antenna, the desktop charger, and an English manual that's written in your typical Chinglish. Fortunately, here's a website where you can actually get some better instructions on how to use the radio.
This is Victor Kilo 3 Papa Bravo testing, 1234, 1234.
VK3PB from VK3GMO.
VK3GMO, VK3PB. Yes, how does the audio sound now there, Jeff?
It's legible and clear, but there is a bit of a hiss behind it, Peter. Go ahead.
Alright, let's see if we can dial up something on IRLP.
active.
This is N3HFK, 900 megahertz, Hopkinton, Mass. Details at gemoto.com.
Right, I'm going to finish up now by showing you how to access the various functions in the radio. First up, press the menu button, which is the top left hand side. You'll see menu come up on the screen. Then rotate the encoder knob, which is the one next to the antenna, around until you find the particular function that you want. In this case, POW is power. Hit the enter key, and then again rotate the encoder knob around till you've got the particular setting you want. In this case, it's switching between low and high. I'll set it for high. Once you've got the setting you want, hit enter, and then hit the VFO MR button twice, and it's all done. And that basic procedure will work with all the different functions that the radio has. I have to say, at around $70 for either a 2 metre or a 70 centimetre version of this radio, it's great value. You can get it on eBay. I won't recommend any particular seller. You can hunt around and work out who you think is trustworthy. Yeah, I've had it for a year now. It works great, and the DTMF functions also give access to Echolink and IRLP, which is great. Thoroughly recommend it.
Man, that's a pretty nice little handy-talkie for the money.
Oh man, I don't think you could beat that for the money. I need to be looking at a new HT myself. Mine's getting kind of long in the tooth.
Yeah, either that or you're going to have to get a cart to carry it around, man. That's a big battery on that thing.
Yeah, but it does have the advantage you can use it for a billy club. You know,
yeah.
if you find yourself in need of one.
Yeah.
Again, as Peter said, you know, check to be sure it's legal in your country before trying to purchase one.
Yep, it's a good idea.
What have you been up to lately, Tommy? It's been a while since we had an episode.
Man, I've been gone a lot. Yeah. Plus, you know, the holidays, Christmas and everything. But still traveling a lot for my job, unfortunately. But my wife likes it.
It beats the alternative, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, I've been doing, you know, a little bit of ham activity now that the winter's here and the band is quieting down on HF. I've been getting on more and talking in the evenings.
Yeah, well, I haven't been as active as I'd like. When my segment comes up, I've got something to kind of keep the ham theme going when I'm traveling, so I think it'll be kind of cool.
That's cool. Worked a little packet last night.
No way.
Yeah. Well, I can't say I actually worked it. I received some packet signals. I didn't really send anything, but it's the first time I've done that in decades.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to do that a lot. Remember, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I run across another interesting little project been playing with here some. You know, we both have iPads, and there's a company that released a DOS emulator for the iPad called iDOS. They released the first version of it, and it promptly got pulled by Apple. And I've forgotten the reasons, probably because it opened up the device too much for you. And
Sounds
then
about right.
they brought it back with some, I think it's got like 6 free games with it. You can get to the DOS prompt too, and there it is, the old C: on
Yeah.
iPad.
And then they pulled it again.
They pulled it again.
From the time you told me about it and the time I went to get it, it was gone, man.
Yeah, and that was only like a day or two, I think.
Yeah, I kind of hate that too. I love my iPad and my iPhone, but I'm getting a little bit miffed at Apple because they make all this really cool hardware, and then they limit you so bad on what you can run on it.
Yeah.
And I could see it if it was something illegal or whatever, but you know, some of it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. If Jim were here, he would tell you why that was good for you.
Yeah. Steve knows. Steve knows what's good for me. Just gives me what I need, right?
You're right. Yeah. Don't
yeah,
want
right.
you to hurt yourself. You got another one there?
Oh man, yeah, I got some emails. I got one from my friend Elmer, KC4YFA. Says, we have some very informative videos, best I've found. One question, where can I find a list of contents for each video? And you mentioned the OCF, or off-center fed dipole antenna somewhere, but I haven't been able to find it. Thanks. And we got the URL for the link to the PDF for the OCF here, if
Yeah.
Man, that was a lot of F's, wasn't it?
Yeah, here it is down here. And he asked, where is a list of the contents of each video? Well,
You have to watch it.
yeah.
It's in the video, man, all the way through.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have a table of contents.
Yeah, if you go to www.AmateurLogic.TV, you'll see a brief description of what we talked about in the episodes, but you won't see everything.
Yeah, but that's one where we can get people to watch all of them.
Yeah, true. Well, I've got one here from, who is this? Peter, N8OER. And he said, just a quick note to all, and mainly to Peter because of the proximity. In Sydney, Australia, there's a person, David Jones, doing a great job of making interesting videos. And he gave us an email address for that. A lot of cool instructional videos and tutorials. I don't see much directly dealing with ham radio, but his vlogs on test equipment are great. And I thought you might find it a site worth mentioning. And yeah, it's a nice looking site. Don't worry, your videos are the best. And great with a bowl of popcorn and a light beverage. Keep up the good work.
And a pillow.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who else. I need to check out his site, but I'll tell you who else has some pretty cool stuff. She follows our Amateur Logic on Twitter.
Wow.
It's Jerry Ellsworth.
Yeah.
She's got some really cool videos on YouTube. You ought to check some of those out.
Oh,
too.
yeah, really. And she makes us look dumb.
Yeah,
She's
no kidding.
really sharp.
No kidding. Hi, if you've been a regular viewer in the past, I'm sure you've noticed it's been a while since we put out a show. We're going to try to do a little better about that this year. We've had a lot of commitments with family, holidays, things like that going on, and a lot of travel for work. Being gone a lot, it's kind of, I hate to admit it, but it's sort of kind of tapered my interest a little bit in the hobby because I'm not able to be as active as I'd like to be. I'm been using my radios a good bit since I've been off for the holidays, and kind of sparked my interest, ready to get things going again and full steam. But I still have a lot of travel, as I said, so not being able to carry the rigs and stuff with me when I go, ran across a few websites that'll help me be able to at least listen to some of my friends back home, listen around the world to some DX, different things. They're pretty interesting. I thought you might like to see them, and you know, maybe you get some use out of them as well. I'm pretty sure I'll be using them in the hotel this week when I'm up in Missouri again for a week for work. Let's take a look. The first site I want to show you is SCRradio.com. It's pretty nice. There are numerous SDR radios on the air that you can tune for free. The interface is a little bit simple, but you do get the waterfall display to see the spectrum, and you can pick out QSOs and so forth, data if you want to try to copy data. Anyway, using the visual display. Let's see if I can find one. I think this was a good one that I was playing with earlier. Okay, we found one that's giving me some audio back. You can change the frequencies, fine tune and change the bands and so forth. And you can see we've got the spectrum display here where you can see conversations or data or whatever happens to be the case. And if you click on the line where you see the activity, you can hear it. So let's just skip over some. The tuning is sort of touchy, and it takes several seconds to hear your changes. When you change the frequency, give up to 5 seconds or so to make sure that you're getting current audio. Let's go down to 40 meters and let's see what we can find. I heard some people talking on 7160 earlier. This looks like a strong one. Let's see, we need to go to the lower side band. There we go. Well, as you can see, that's a pretty neat sight. I like the spectrum analyzer display, the waterfall display, so you can see the conversations that you want to tune in on. The downside of it, again, is the tuning's a little bit slow because of the delay in the actual audio and the time it actually makes it to you over the internet. It's kind of going to be inherited in any site like this. This other one we found is globaltuners.com, and it is a site that you need to register for, whereas that other one you did not have to register. Once you register, the owner will approve your account, send you a temporary password, and then you can log in and change your password. You have a 2-week trial period. After 2 weeks, you'll get full access. I think the only thing that you're limited to, that I recall, is you cannot tune in to a radio that already has someone on it. Having said that, you can have multiple users listening at the same time, but he asks you to be courteous and ask permission before changing the tuner if there are other people listening to something on there, which is only common sense. Let's go ahead and look at the free receivers, since those are the ones that I have access to. It says there are 23 available. And I've played around with a lot of these over the last few days. This Vero Beach one works pretty nice. There was one in Buffalo, New York, running on an 857D. Here's another 857 in Wisconsin. San Antonio. Let's give that one a try. That's kind of not too far from me. This page gives you a little information about what the radio is, again, the antenna, time zone, and so forth. To go to the radio, just click Tune This Receiver, and you'll see the little interface load up. It's pretty nice, a little bit nicer to me than the other one. You have more control. We don't have the spectrum analyzer display though. Okay, so I think there's a Coast Guard net, if I'm not mistaken, going on 14.300. Let's give that a try and see if we can hear it. And that's going to be upper sideband. This one's a little different. Once you tune the radio, you can do it before you tune the radio, but you actually have to start the audio. So you can pick different quality of audio. The low quality is obviously going to give you a little bit less delay between the time that it actually came out on the receiver, wherever it's located, in this instance San Antonio, and the time you hear it here. So I'm going to go low quality, but it still sounds good enough, and it'll give me less lag time. So let's click the start button to start the audio streaming. Always a little hiccup there right after it starts. Yeah, I hear them in there. You can change the bandwidth here with this interface. It's pretty nice. And you can also do some fine tuning if you want to change it in 100 hertz increments. You change that, and then you can turn the tune knob and actually change it in the smallest scale. Well, I hear them in there, but they're not very strong. Let's try one of these others and see if we can hear them a little better. Yeah, you can see it logged me off. The receiver's free. Let's go back. Let's try this Vero Beach, Florida one. It's a pretty strong station, and it says there's no one on it. say strong station. It seemed to have a good antenna. This interface is a little different than the other. Let's go to 14.300. Set. And it takes a few seconds for it to go. Let's do upper sideband, and let's start the audio streaming. Sooner or later. Well, there you go. You can listen to your heart's content. This is a global chat that will send a chat to everyone else that's on the Global Tuners network, and this chat window up here will send you a message to any other users that are logged in that you can see over here on the right. Well, check out those sites, see how you like them. Register for the first or the second one, globaltuners.com, and give the guy time to activate your account. Play around. It's a lot of fun. Again, be courteous on there. It's not too much to ask. And let me know what you think about them.
That was really neat, Tommy, and maybe it'll keep you a little more active in ham radio.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Anyway, there's some neat sites, and I actually played with one of them when I was out of town. I've been out of town once since I actually made that segment, and I got another one coming up. But played with it in the hotel room, just kind of occupy some time. It's fun. They're nice, but keep in mind that is that delay between the time the audio comes from the receiver and it gets digitized, comes out at where you're listening. So kind of take small steps and wait.
Yeah. So if you couldn't find anybody to talk to, you could always get on there and talk to yourself in 5-second increments and then listen to yourself. See what you sound like, how you're making it to that receiver.
Yeah, you can do that. Check propagation.
Yeah. What you got there next?
I've got one from my friend Joe, KG4UJC. Says, waiting for a new episode. So, well, here it is, Joe. It said, when's it coming out? If I want to submit something for an episode, what do you need and what format? We had an episode about that a while back, and I should have looked up the details on it. Yeah. But basically, you can send us a high-quality H.264 file with the best quality compression, and generally we try to keep the segments to 10 minutes or less, and standard definition is fine, or high definition 720p files are fine. Try to keep the quality high, and try to do your own narrating and have it pretty much ready to go.
Yeah, and pay attention to your audio too. If you can use an external mic, by all means do. They work better. If not, just try to do it in a room where there's not a lot of echo, if possible.
Yeah, just do your best to keep the quality up on it. So,
yeah.
Anyway, thanks for that.
Well, I'm out of emails, but I do have one interesting thing here that came from zerobeat.net. I'm not sure how I came across this, but it's a top 13 list of you may be a regnet. I can't even say it.
Yeah. If you can't say it.
Yeah, then maybe I am one. You're a redneck ham operator if one leg of your dipole is tied to the outhouse. Or number 2, needle nose pliers are needed to turn your transmitter on and off.
Oh, man.
3, you paid more for your mobile antenna than you did for your wife's wedding ring. I suspect there's guys who...
Yeah, there's probably several of those around.
Yeah. You pause for ID every 10 minutes while you were on your honeymoon. Your spouse says, honey, do you love me? And your response is, Roger, Roger, Roger. Number 6, your trailer house is part of your antenna. I actually had that situation years ago. I wasn't a ham yet, but we won't get into it. Number 7, your mobile radio costs more than the vehicle it's mounted on.
Yeah, I've seen some of those.
Yeah. Number 8, your power supply consists of jumper cables hanging out the window of the shack attached to the battery of your truck. I'm sure there's some of that going on too. Number 9, your HF rig is the latest ICOM or Kenwood, and your desk mic came from Radio Shack. Number 10, your idea of RF is real fine audio. Number 11, your homebrew amplifier resembles a moonshine whiskey still in Alabama. Number 12, your TV antenna and 10-meter beam are one and the same. And number 13, you own a linear amplifier but no lawnmower.
What's wrong with that one?
I don't understand.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I've been dragging out my SDR radio talks here for several episodes now. This time we're finally going to look inside the guts of the TS-2000 and show you how you can tap into the IF of it to get an output to send to an SDR radio and really allow you to do a lot more with the radio. This time around we're not going to actually get into operating. It's mostly the actual modifications inside of the rig, and in a future episode we'll follow up with actual operation on it.
Cool.
We've talked about software-defined radios before in episode 15 and 26, and now we're going to take a look at my current SDR setup and what was involved in creating it. But first, let me throw a little disclaimer out here. Don't try this at home unless you know what you're doing. It will void the warranty of your rig and could possibly damage it. In episode 26, I showed you a simple 12 kilohertz IF tap mod for the TS-2000, and that mod allowed me to listen to a little bit of the band either side of the frequency that I tuned my receiver to. In episode 26, we discussed the 10.695 megahertz IF of the Kenwood TS-2000 and just exactly what intermediate frequencies are. The TS-2000, like most other HF rigs today, don't have an IF output on them. Fortunately for us, Doug Hall, K4DSP, has produced a great little preamp and isolator and put a document out on the internet that shows us how to do it. If you do a search for TS-2000 soft rock if.pdf, you should be able to locate it. Now, Doug's PDF file shows us an IF buffer schematic that uses 2 common FETs and a small pad on the output to isolate the rig. You don't want your external equipment that's hooked to the IF of your radio to load it down or affect the performance of your receiver, so this little preamp and pad for isolation really helps out. I built my buffer amp on a small piece of PC board, and I mounted it in my TS-2000 where the 1.2 gigahertz module would normally go, since I don't have that module. Now, the buffer amp gets its power from the top of diode D9 on the bottom of the board of the rig. The input of the buffer amp is fed from connector W1. Now, be careful because this board has 2 connectors labeled W1, and you want to be sure to use the one that's indicated in the picture here. W1 does not unplug from the PC board, so we have to carefully cut away the white plastic shell that surrounds the wires, and I found that using a pair of dikes worked good for this. Next, I connected the buffer amp's input to the exposed terminals of W1 using a piece of RG174U coaxial cable. I ran another piece of RG174U connected from the output of the buffer amp to the rear of the rig through the hole where the 1.2 gig antenna connector would normally be. Now, the gray cable that you see installed here was previously put in when I did the 12 kilohertz IF tap mod in episode 26. It's not part of this mod. I just left it connected in case I wanted to use that again in the future. And at the end of my buffer amp output, I put a nice gold-plated RCA female connector for connecting to my SDR receiver. Now, the buffer amp's output does connect to, in this case, I'm using a Soft Rock Lite USB Extra version 9, but you could use any software-defined radio receiver and it should work just fine, as long as you can tune the SDR to the frequency of your IF. Now, the Soft Rock Lite uses a USB-controlled oscillator instead of a crystal, so I can tune it right to 10.695 megahertz, which my radio uses. Now, the IF for the rig always remains at this frequency regardless of where I tune the receiver. So once I've set the frequency of my SDR, I can just lock it down. Now, the audio output of the Soft Rock feeds the sound card, and in this case I'm using a Sound Blaster Live 24-bit external. It's got a sampling rate of 96 kilohertz, so I can expect a bandwidth of just under 50 kilohertz wide. The buffer amp and Soft Rock receiver combination cost me less than $100 to build, and to add SDR capabilities to my radio for under $100 is not a bad deal. Now, for the software, I chose Power SDR IF stage, the same software that they use with the Flex radios. Fortunately, the authors of the software decided to release it to open source, and two good hams, Scott McClements, WU2X, and Chad Gatchman, W1CEG, decided to modify the program and make it useful for radios with IF outputs. Their version of the software is named Power SDR IF stage. You can find it at this link. I'm using version 1.19.3.5, which is current at the time of this typing, and it really works great. Not only does it decode the SDR audio signals that are coming from the receiver, it also allows me to control the rig. Now, there are a number of rigs that are supported through direct serial communications with Power SDR IF stage. Most are not, however. But for these cases, they created an interface to Ham Radio Deluxe. So any rig that supports Ham Radio Deluxe can be used with Power SDR IF stage as well. So this has worked out great for me, since the Kenwood TS-2000 is one of those radios. So now I've got the option to control my TS-2000 directly with knobs and switches, just like I always did, or I can control it from my computer using the Ham Radio Deluxe and Power SDR IF stage. To me, it's the best of both worlds. I've got just the radio. If I want to turn it on, it works always like it did before, or I can boot the computer and then I've got all this extra functionality. Now, it's a little work to do this. If it sounds like something you think you are capable of, though, and are interested in, I'd highly encourage you to do a little research.
Man, that's pretty interesting. Anytime you tear something apart and show the inside, that's always good.
Yeah.
But, man, that makes me want one of those rigs even more. You know, the Hamfest is coming up this weekend, and I hope I don't find a good deal on one of them there, because that actually makes me want to, like I say, get one even more.
I wish you would. Maybe you'd be on the air a little more.
Yeah, well, I'll have to take it on the airplane.
Yeah.
Can you get a mobile antenna for airplane?
I'm sure if you went up and talked to the pilot, he'd just let you
hang the wire
tap
out
in.
the window.
Yeah, he'd flip the antenna switch for you.
Well, we got some comments off of the Facebook page. If you're not familiar, we've got a group on Facebook, and you can find the URL here as usual. And we're also on Twitter, AmateurLogic. So look for us on both of those, and post your comments. We get on there when we have a chance. Probably not as much as a lot of some people do, but we do when we have a chance. And I've got a comment here from Don. He says he's been a ham for less than 1 year, introduced to AmateurLogic.TV about 6 months back. Can't wait for the next episode. Thanks, guys. Still learning a lot. Like to see more ham-related stuff, though. Thanks. Well, this is, this isn't your episode, Don. But we got Peter's handy talkie in here.
Yeah. I've got one here from Brent. He says, "Hey guys, I've been a follower of yours for some time now. I really enjoy your shows and look forward to many more. My question today is, do you have a frequency on HF where you all meet and discuss any given subjects, perhaps a roundtable group? Thanks, and hope to make a contact one of these days." Well, we don't have a really amateur logic group on HF as such. You can catch us around sometimes. I'm probably most active on HF right now. And if you're an extra, you can find me on 3770 kilohertz. That's the Cam Radio group. It's on every evening from about 10:30 Central to when everybody drops off. We've talked about camradio.net before, and that's one place you might find me. Another frequency I like is one here a lot of the guys around the Southeast talk on, is 3838 megahertz. As a matter of fact, I was on there last night, and that's kind of how we got discussing it, and I got to play in the packet. So my good friend Dom, W4 DOM, he's got a TS-2000 too, and he gave me a few pointers there, and we got it up and played with it a little bit.
Cool. Well, I've got one here from Ruben. It says, "Hi fellas, congratulations to all of you for our Amateur Logic program. A question. Is there a closed caption for to read previous chapters? Would be an interesting feature for those of us who don't speak English." That would be pretty interesting, but I'm not sure that we'll be able to pull that off. I haven't had a chance to really look into what's involved, but that I do know that means someone would have to be able to sit down and type in, everything that was said on the program, and we're having a tough time getting the programs together anyway. So
Yeah.
maybe if things pan out in the future and more time comes around, might be able to look into it, but I can't really foresee that happening anytime in the near future.
I mean, the only languages I know are English and Visual Basic and C#, so
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't do much good. Here's one from Anthony, and he sent a link here on the Facebook page. You can go to our group there and find the link. He says, "Inside the International Space Station, Expedition 25, Commander Doug Wheelock gives a tour of the Russian segment of the orbiting complex, including the Soyuz spacecraft docked there. Wheelock shows off the station's ham radio using the call sign NA1SS, and he talks to people on the ground." And that, did you see that, Tommy?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's a great video. Yeah, I encourage you to go hunt that down and watch it, and you can see exactly what the ham astronauts are doing.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know about that. Somehow missed that.
Well, I guess that's it for this episode. We've got the annual Capital City Ham Fest coming up this weekend here in Jackson, Mississippi, and I'm going to be there.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be there. I thought I was gonna be gone, but looks like I'm gonna be able to make it. So I go get my usual bag of connectors and whatever else good stuff I can find.
Yeah, I'm going to buy a few sizes of heat shrink and maybe some coax if I can find a good deal.
Yeah, I need some coax too to get my HF antenna up a little higher.
I'll be looking for you a TS-2000 though.
Yeah, well, don't look too hard because I'm liable to buy it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We hope you've enjoyed episode 29, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.